Hey everyone, Andy All here. You can call me Dr. Kennard. I was just reading in the chat, and Scott Duke was talking about the superbug fungus, and I'm going, how could my anxiety have not allowed me to know that there's a superbug fungus around? So of course I googled superbug fungus, and yeah, right on CBS News, outbreaks of superbug drug-resistant fungus spread around patients in hospitals and long-term care facilities in Texas and Washington, D.C. How about that? A superbug fungus. Well, I'm just glad that I don't know what I'm glad about, to tell you the truth. Maybe I'll cover the story tomorrow. I don't have time to prepare for the superbug fungus when we're talking about most. This is just another heavy COVID show since, and I was thinking about it. Like, after the election when Chris and I were doing the show with Rage. For those of you who doesn't know this, who don't know this, it used to be a 3-person show with Chris Mallard and the Raging Atheist. And I think for a period of 3 or 4 months, I was just talking about the Weimar Republic and Nazis and Trump practically hitting a pail, hitting like a bucket with my spoon, with notes, sticky notes. And now I feel like I have slid into just talking a lot about the pandemic. Why am I talking about the pandemic? The Delta variant, radio hosts, conservative. We're going to be talking about a radio conservative host who railed against vaccines, made funny little songs about people who were getting vaccines. And now, of course, he's on death's door due to COVID. What else are we talking about? We're talking about people getting sick and tired of anti-vaxxers, people getting sick and tired about people not getting the vaccine, and what is to be done. What is to be done? Is that a throwback to some obscure novel from the 19th century? Maybe it is, everyone. Maybe it is. And last but not least, we're going to talk about Mike Lindell doing crazy Mike Lindell stuff. But should we do something funny? Let's look at a quick funny little video about the federal government talking to the state of Alaska.
Alaska, you ready to go over some of your laws? They're all self-explanatory, I'm sure, but I know how you lower 48 are a little slow on the uptake. Great, perfect, love starting the meeting like this. Well, get on with it. There's just a lot of moose stuff in here. Yeah, it should probably just be one law that says don't. That's probably a little too oversimplistic, don't you think? No. Okay, you can't look at a moose from a plane? That's a good start. Excuse me? Just don't mess with moose. Don't touch them, don't name them, don't even look at them. Thank me later. Yeah, is that why it's illegal to let a moose into a saloon? Oh no. Then why? A guy owned a moose once, and sometimes it would get drunk and destroy a bunch of stuff. You must have realized that outlawing a moose from going into a saloon wasn't actually going to stop a moose, right? Eventually, we just had to make it illegal to give a moose alcohol. It baffles me that that law even needed to be made. If you owned a moose, wouldn't you want to try it? God, no. Good. You're kind of a loser, but good. That was completely unnecessary. So is this meeting.
All right, everyone. I'm going to say hello to everyone in the chat. Why? First, I want to go over why I didn't do a show yesterday is because I am transitioning from one job to another job. I had to go to this new job, make out some paperwork yesterday. I probably mentioned this in the after party after show last Friday that I wouldn't be able to stream yesterday, right? Because right now I'm in this awkward transition point while I have to go full throttle at the job I'm at now, while still preparing for my next job that's coming up. Once again, I'm going to say hello to the chat, see how everyone's doing. Hey, if you're watching on Facebook, and some of you may be watching on Facebook, you're going to see me interact with the YouTube chat. If you come on YouTube, on the Laughing and Disbelief channel, then I'll be able to interact with you in the chat easily. All right. What's up, Lee? All I heard was Andy is transitioning. Hello, Dee Parks. It's good to see you. The moose is loose. Simply Secular Dave. It's good to see you. Yeah, and this past weekend, I didn't stream at all because I was working. I was working hours and doing other things that required my time. Good morning, Rage. I'll call you Mr. Rage. Oh, Lord Rage. I like that. Right? Lord Rage. I like that. Sean. Alexander. Good to see you. Scott Duke. The famous superbug. Yeah. It's antibiotic resistant, right? So currently untreatable. Derek Cruz. Did I get everyone? I think I got everyone. And of course, there were some people here from yesterday when Isabel G. It does say live in tune. Yes, that was from yesterday's. I hope you're here this morning, Isabel G. So the rest of the show is going to be normal as normal as we get here, right? So today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, normal show. On Thursday night, I'm going to be stopping in on the Tang Network's show, Faith Not Required. It's a comedy show with Skids the Clown and, of course, the Reverend Jimmy Lou, the Reverend brother Heathen. So that's at 9:00 over on the Tang Network. I don't know. We're just going to be doing funny things, and I'm hoping just to be able to keep up with Jimmy and Skids. Digital. So I'm reading through Dr. Josh's book. And what's the name of Josh's book? I have it here, right? The Atheist Handbook to the Old Testament. Over halfway through learning. I didn't realize this. Chat. Because I have like islands of knowledge, and every once in a while there's a bridge between these islands. And I never realized that the Philistines were actually the sea peoples, were one of the sea peoples that brought about the late Bronze Age collapse. Now, if you know anything about history, ancient history, there was Bronze Age collapse. And in the Levant, in the ancient civilizations of the Middle East. And when Dr. Josh comes on to talk about his book, we'll talk about it quite a bit. But I never realized, and part of this collapse was due to the migration raiding of the sea peoples, right? A general term for many different tribes, for groups of people. But I never realized that the Philistines were probably, more than likely, one of the many groups that made up the sea peoples that brought about the Bronze Age collapse. See, I learn things with my brain sometimes. Not a lot of times, but I learn things. Tang gang. All right. So you wanna do memes? You want to do memes? I think I've prattled around a bit about memes. Let's do something memey. This one, uncalled for. Utah. You get the jokes, everyone, right? Everyone's pretty smart here. It's a polygamy joke. Next one. I'm just going to let this one sit here. SpongeBob SquareChrist has hung and dried so that he could soak up all your sin. What a wonderful savior SpongeBob SquareChrist is. And of course, the last one. Fitting for the real story that we're going to be talking about in less than a minute. Anti-vax, and there's the sheep, the GOP going over the edge, just like that. Wait, maybe we should rethink this as they go hurtling over the edge. I'm going to check out the chat one more time before talking about this guy, radio host, conservative radio host, ran his mouth against the vaccine and against against public health, against science-based medicine. Ran his mouth and now in the hospital with COVID. Let's check out the chat first. Every time I see SpongeBob, I think to myself, SFT, Sponge. Right. All right. Hey, Theo. Clockwork Rex. Hope you're all doing well. And of course, Digital Hammurabi. Always a pleasure. Oh, interesting. I don't know if you caught the show, but Eric Klein was just on our show, the guy that wrote 1117, The Collapse of Civilization. It was fantastic. Interesting. I've not seen that. Maybe I'll check it out. So many things to do here for Andy, for Dr. Kennard. So many things to do. All right, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. The pop and fresh of this story. I'm at a breaking point. Radio host who regrets mocking vaccines is fighting for his life. Radio show. We're watching a bunch of people who have ran their mouths against the vaccine, now in hospitals, now in deep trouble, and saying, wow, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Maybe that was the wrong move. Let's take a look at the story. Links in the description, everyone. A conservative radio host in Tennessee who repeatedly spread misinformation about coronavirus and mocked vaccines, but changed his tune after falling seriously ill, was still fighting for his life on Saturday, weeks after contracting the virus. Phil Valentine, who hosts a talk show on 99.7 WWTN FM in Nashville. That was my shitty radio voice, everyone. Talk show radio voice. Is hospitalized and is receiving supplemental oxygen while in critical care, battling COVID pneumonia, his family said in a statement Friday. So you're asking, okay, so we know he was pretty much preaching against COVID, but how bad was he really doing? Was it that bad? They say he is still not doing well. Please pray for me, his wife Susan told the station on Saturday morning, according to a tweet. I am at a breaking point. On Saturday afternoon, Julia Campbell Shirley declined to comment on her son-in-law's condition before hurriedly telling the Daily Beast, I certainly think people should be vaccinated. Valentine has repeatedly downplayed COVID-19 and dismissed guidance from health officials about the seriousness of the virus and the importance of getting vaccinated. In a blog post in December, days after doses of Pfizer's COVID vaccine was first authorized for emergency use in the United States, Valentine said he was simply following the logic in deciding not to get vaccinated. See, he was following logic, everyone. That's what's wrong with that? After confirming rumors of his diagnosis on July 11th, Valentine was initially well enough to report to listeners about his condition. I think I'm on the other side of it, he said, of the virus on one occasion, according to WIAT, while describing painful coughing, congestion, and fatigue. No, I'm doing really fine. Valentine defended his decision not to get vaccinated as he began wrestling with the virus, insisting he had thought the disease wouldn't kill him. So let's take a pause and just imagine the kind of crap he was saying. I have a functioning immune system. I don't need a vaccine. Novel virus. I don't even like to read. No, that was stupid, everyone. I'm sorry for the pun. Let's just go on. Before he was hospitalized, Valentine also announced on air that he was taking the vitamin D like crazy and found a doctor who agreed to prescribe ivermectin. The drug, often used to treat parasites in animals, has been touted in right-wing media circles as promising COVID treatment, but the FDA has cautioned against its use for COVID-19. If you want to listen to a podcast that talks about ivermectin, the last Sam Harris podcast episode is worth listening to. They talk about how many voices on the right have grabbed onto ivermectin, and the quote unquote research that went behind it. It's well worth your time, everyone. And of course, I don't agree with Sam Harris on everything, but He describes this particular podcast episode as a PSA, as a public service announcement about misinformation. And part of it was about ivermectin. But in the days that follow, Valentine's family shared with the radio station that his battle against the virus had become more dire and he was being hospitalized in critical care. His brother, Mark Valentine, posted an impassioned message to Facebook on Wednesday, suggesting that watching Phil Valentine, who was fighting for his life, had persuaded him to get vaccinated when he was previously not inclined to do so. I'm going to quote West Virginian Governor Jim Justice. You always love doing that, Andy. I do. Because Governor, I don't agree with Jim Justice on everything, West Virginian Governor. But he was right. He was right. What's it going to take to get unvaccinated people to get vaccinated at this point? And he just said, I'm going to try to do my best, Jim Justice here. Well, some people are going to have to die. So if someone closest to you dies of COVID or is in the hospital in critical care, that will motivate you or people around that person to get the vaccine, which happened in this case. Jim Justice, you were completely spot on, sir. Just last month, Valentine, hacky comedy right here. Valentine even wrote and performed a parody song of the Beatles song Taxman called Vax Man, in which he appeared to mock vaccines. Let me tell you how it will be, he's saying. And I don't care if you agree, because I'm the Vax Man. Yeah, I'm the Vax Man. If you don't like me coming around, be thankful I don't hold you down. And that's radio hacky comedy. Hacky comedy lives on conservative talk radio, everyone. So this guy wrote little cute, stupid little songs, hacky songs like, I'm the Vax Man. I'm the Vax Man. Yeah, that's horrible singing, Andy. I know that. Stricken with COVID. At least he convinced his idiot brother to get the vaccine. And hopefully, maybe some of his listeners too. Let's hope. Right? But like Jim Justice said, Jim Justice said from West Virginia, to get people vaccinated who are vaccine hesitant at this point, some people are going to have to die. All right. Catching up to the chat. Hey, girlfriend. Hope you're doing well. Well, Sean, Alexander, this is at least how I look at it and how I try to square the circle of being a humanist, being a skeptic, and being a comedian at the same time. There are legitimate victims of the faith industrial complex here in the United States of America, right? There are legitimate victims, people who have been brought up in the faith who weren't taught critical thinking skills, who were brought up in let's face it, shitty states with shitty schools. I do feel sorry, or I try to feel sorry for those people who I find it difficult to muster empathy, for sympathy for the people, the talking heads who have been railing against the vaccine just for financial returns, just to make a buck. Those are the people I find it difficult to feel compassionate for or sympathy. All right. Clockwork Rex. Let's see. Hey, what's up, James Henry? Hope you're doing well. Well, Rage, this is a good point for Rage. Don't get vaccinated, but definitely buy my Prepper Survival set for $6,000. Exactly, because that's the best use of your time and your money, right? What's up, Cryptameria? Thank you for saying it, Andy. If I do, it sounds mean. Yeah, well, once again, just talking about it day after day, like I said, I can find sympathy for people who have been legitimately victimized. Because let's face it, most of us here in the chat or who are watching this channel were Christians at one time, or who were under the spell of faith. And I know I said crazy things and did crazy things back then. So I can find some sympathy for people who are victims. But the ringleaders, the people who are just out there primarily to make money off of the vaccine hesitant, they get my angers up. It just gets my angers up. Imaginary God, glad to see that you're here. You're right, Jerry Gonzalez. There are millions. All right. Should we? What? Greg Locke. Is Greg Locke in the news? I think Greg Locke's in the news. He has a little video out too. You want to take a look at his little video? All right. Let's see if I can do this without doing something stupid.
Don't believe this Delta variant nonsense. Stop it. Stop it. I know right-wing watching. I don't care. If they go through round 2 and you start showing up all these masks and all this nonsense, I'll ask you to leave. I will ask you to leave. I am not playing these Democrat games up in this church. If you want a social distance, go to First Baptist Church, but don't come to this one. I'm done with it. I said I'm done with it. I ain't playing these stupid games.
Wow. Greg Locke throwing the heat. Fire, brimstone, and virus. That's what his brand is, everyone. Right, James Henry? Right? It's just wow. He's like, I'm going to ask you to leave if you come in here with a mask. Go to some other crazy Christian church if you come in here. Lunacy. Just lunacy. Hey, this is the time that I should mention that you don't see any ads here. And going forward, you're not going to see any ads on this channel. Why? Because it's fully funded by YouTube members and by patrons, right? I don't want to be complicit in the advertising of crap to you. I hate ads. I hate watching ads. I hate watching a 20-minute video with 3 sets of ads in it. It bothers me. It gets me the angers, everyone. And it gives the microphone the angers too, because I talk to the microphone and the microphone says, wow, that gives me the angers too, Andy. So yeah, we both decided no ads on this channel. So please contribute if you can. Please hit the like button. If you can, well, most people can hit the like button. Microphone, come on, that's a stupid thing for me to say. So, or for you to suggest. So hey, if you can hit the like button, that would be great. If you appreciate it or get some value out of what I do here. Please subscribe. And of course, if you could throw a shekel or 2, that would be wonderful. If you cannot throw me a shekel or 2, do not. Save your pennies if you need to save your pennies, everyone. Yeah, Rage. I hate that the most. Just stop with the ads in the middle of the videos. Yeah, in the middle of the videos, in the first half. Yeah, it's just horrible. Okay, so next story. What are we talking about? Georgia restaurant. Once again, this is part 1 of We're Sick of Your Shit. Don't worry, this is going to be part 2 of We're Sick of Your Shit, but this is just part 1 of We're Sick of Your Shit. Georgia restaurant will refuse service for unvaccinated people after breakthrough COVID infections among fully vaccinated staff. Right. Breakthrough COVID infections among fully vaccinated staff. In Atlanta, Georgia, restaurant owner. Let me start that over again so it makes sense in my ears. An Atlanta, Georgia restaurant owner decided only to serve fully vaccinated customers. The restaurant announced the rule on Instagram earlier this week, showing a no vax, no service signs that aims to reduce the spread of the virus inside the establishment. Armando Celentano, a co-owner of Argosy Restaurant and Bar, told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution the decision came after he and 3 of his employees tested positive for the virus, even though they are fully vaccinated, marking an instance of breakthrough infections. 4 people in the restaurant, 3 staff and the co-owner of the restaurant. Yeah, I think that's enough reason. In fact, there was enough reason just to serve vaccinated people to begin with, but actually getting the virus, though you're fully vaccinated, that's, yeah. Next panel. It's a question of quality of life and safety for my staff and guests, Celentano told the outlet. It's privately owned, small business, and I have to do what I think is right to protect the people who rely on me to make a living. Yeah, yes, you're right. Approximately 30, oh my freaking God, I see numbers like this and it bothers the fuck out of me. Approximately 38% of people in Georgia are fully vaccinated, according to data from the New York Times. The more contagious Delta variant spreads throughout the U.S., vaccinated people are not 100% immune and could still become infected with COVID-19. 38% of the people in Georgia. That's not a lot. Sean, thank you very much for the $20. It is deeply appreciated, sir. Well, you know, Rage, if you put ads in the midst of your videos, my first reaction is grifter. Yep. My rabbi friend died this year from COVID. Wow. And he was nuts as the day is long. Wow. I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry that he died, you know. All right. So let's go on with this story. Last panel. The rule sparked mixed emotions from some residents who spoke to Atlanta's WSB TV. One person told the outlet the mandate is a bunch of crap. Another said it's unfortunate because they don't want the shot. Fuck you. I don't want the shot. I don't want the shot. Despite the pushback, Celentano told the outlet he has no problem asking customers if they are fully vaccinated. This is no different from no shirt, no shoes, no shirt, no service, he said. Of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah. You know, and the funny thing, the people who don't want the vaccine, a lot of the talk show hosts, the white evangelicals, they're the same people who are like, well, of course a private diner owner shouldn't serve someone who's black if they don't want to, right? They're the same type of people back in segregation times. Crazy. Checking out the chat. All right. Are we doing the halftime tummy rub show? We're doing the halftime tummy rub show. I have a note here that says I should ask people to like the video. Please like the video if you're watching. It would be swell. Such strong language here on the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. It would be swell if you liked the video. If this is your first time here, midpoint through the show, I say words, show a funny video, ask you to like this video, and then I mention that we do an after party after show. It's an open room for humanists and progressives. If you want to pop on, the link is in the description. That show starts at 10. But now let's do something funny.
Why does everything gotta be so goddamn difficult? Huh? Why? Scraping dried egg off the goddamn pan and replacing a liner in the garbage can and handling the scoops of kitty litter, scrubbing little poops off your own dang hitter, remembering to buy new things for the Swiffer, trying hard to like IPAs but they're bitter, getting the plug in the goddamn plug hole, getting the plug in the goddamn plug hole. Everybody in the world has everything figured out except for you. Go, you don't even know how to neatly fold. Something smells like mold. Food has gotten older past the likelihood of saving that container. I'm insane because I thought that I just scrubbed those fucking dishes.
I can relate. And by the way, in case anyone wants to know, that whenever I do one of these funny videos, the views drop down, basically. But I am dedicated to spectrum, being on the spectrum kind of humor. Probably being on the spectrum myself a little bit. Their microphone, right? A little bit, just a little bit. And that's the kind of humor I enjoy, and I hope that you do too, those of you who regularly watch the show. Oh, let's see. All right, so are we ready to do? See, that was nice. I thought that was pretty funny too, right? All right. This is where we're sick of your shit part 2. So sick of your shit part 1 was the Georgia restaurant owner not serving people who are unvaccinated, and now no one scrapes the egg off the pan for me except for Andy. Well, I try my best. All right. Ready for this next story, which is we're sick of your shit part 2. New York and California order government workers to get COVID vaccine. So New York and California stepping up their game. New York, this is from Reuters, of course. Political leaders in California and New York on Monday ordered government workers to get vaccinated against COVID-19 or face regular tests, ratcheting up the pressure on reluctant residents in a bid to stem a rise in infections based on the Delta variant. New York will require its more than 300,000 employees to get vaccinated by September 13th or get tested weekly, Mayor Bill de Blasio said. The crackdown came a week after the United States' most populous city passed a vaccine mandate for all healthcare workers at city-run hospitals and clinics. What's remarkable is that it's not universal. The idea, yes, I'm going to use the word idea there with the R at the end, that every hospital, healthcare clinic, every visiting nurse, every home healthcare provider isn't mandated to be vaccinated at this point. Because people that we serve, right, and I can speak with this because this is the job that I do, some of them can't get the vaccine because of pre-existing health conditions. So if you're sick, if you have a disability, if you cannot get the vaccine and you're being served by people who refuse to get vaccinated, those people shouldn't have a fucking job, right? That's just like telling people there's no such thing as a walking snake. No one ever walked on water, and healthcare workers should get fucking vaccinated. It's in that obvious kind of obvious sedosity. That's a new word, Andy. That's a new word. California Governor Gavin Newsom said that all state employees, some 246,000 people, would be ordered to get vaccinated starting August 2nd or undergo COVID-19 testing at least once a week. We are now at a point in this pandemic where an individual's choice not to get vaccinated is impacting the rest of us, Newsom told a news conference on Monday. You know, and I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something, microphone. I'm going to tell everyone here watching, listening, that if I was one of the people administrating a test to someone who is vaccine hesitant in California, who refuses to get vaccinated and says, here, I'm going to get the test, I would stab that nose. I would not be delicate with doing the swab test up the nostrils. I wouldn't be delicate with that. A little bit extra incentive for them to get vaccinated. On Monday, the Department of Veterans Affairs, whose mandate includes providing health care for former service members, became the first federal agency to require its employees to get vaccinated. The Delta variant, which is believed to be more transmissible than the original virus, has triggered a surge in new cases around the U.S., partly reversing a drop-off after vaccines became widely available in the spring. In New York, the city's largest public employee union with 125,000 members on DC 37 on Monday took issue with the city's mandate. Well, fuck you then, DC Public Employee Union. If City Hall intends to test our members weekly, they must first meet us at the table to bargain, executive directly. See, and that's all this union guy is. He just wants money. He just wants money or some kind of deal from New York City. Well, fuck him. You know, I have always said this about vaccines and kids. If you got to do it at bayonet point, then just do it at bayonet point, right? That's all there is. And we know this. If more people were dying from COVID-19, all this talk about people having a right to mask would evaporate. It would just be gone. If we're talking about rates that you would see from smallpox, like death rates, or from the Black Death, right? Which supposedly killed like a third of Europe during the Dark Ages, during the Middle Ages. Then yeah, you know, all this talk would just be gone. People would be forced to get the vaccine one way or the other. Grant Farmer, how you doing? I like the cut of your jib, Sean. Let Edward Scissorhands do the swabbing, indeed. I could sign off to that. Yeah. Well, I agree with you, James Henry. I agree. So now this is an interesting question, Dave, because you're right, Dave. You're right, because if they really wanted to get a chip into your brain or into your system, they could easily do it with a swab test. Simply Secular Dave points out, why can't they chip your brain with a swab test? Well, we wouldn't even need those Soros Gates hoaxination and make us get a shot if we already had the chip up our nose and in the brain, right? No, you're totally right. Yeah, and you're right, Clockwork Rex. Polio is a go-to example. Yeah. Excuse me. I'm going to cough for a second. Thank you. Wow. Yeah. Well, Tesla Ranger, I got the J&J 1 shot. Well, I need to be revaccinated. I don't know. My son got the J&J 1 shot too. It's so obvious I had to make a word up for it. That's right. All right. It's the silence of the cough. Have you seen? Now, I just want to talk about this. There's this movie, and I was going to do this during the announcements, but I'm going to take a small digression here. I don't know if anyone knows this, and my friend James Henry might know this movie. It's called The East. It's opening on August 13th. It's about the Dutch. It's the Dutch, their Vietnam. That's their Apocalypse Now movie, I believe. I saw a trailer for it the other day. It's coming up in August 13th, and it's about the Dutch military involvement in Indonesia after World War II. What many of you know was that a lot of the Pacific was dominated by Imperial Japan for a number of years. Japan, when they swept into these countries, knocked out the colonial rulers. They just, got rid of them and put up their own governments. Well, when they were, quote unquote, liberated, when they were liberated by the U.S. and by Allied forces, the native peoples did not want to be they did not want to become colonies again. And so the Dutch sent troops into, I believe it was Indonesia. Might have been Malaysia. I'm not absolutely sure. The Dutch East Indies. Thank you, James Henry. And so it looks like a crazy, excellent movie. If you can deal with the subtitles, which I don't mind doing subtitles. Like I said, it looks like the Dutch version of Apocalypse Now. And Apocalypse Now is one of my favorite movies of all times. So I'm looking forward to it. All right. That was my little divergence. Imaginary God goes, if the freaks out there could put more energy into science and less into the God thingy, we would all benefit indeed. I'm going to tell you, it's like we're getting an election. We're going to have an election pretty soon, a primary election here in Somerville. And we've had two Democratic Socialist candidates, or two people who've been certified, who are being supported by the Democratic Socialists. And in their handouts, there's a little red rose, the symbol for Democratic Socialism. And so we were talking, I was talking with them, actually the girlfriend was too, to one of the candidates for the counselor at large positions here in the city. And looks like we might be able to get a couple of Democratic Socialists on the city council, which is pretty cool. All right. Oh, yeah, Apocalypse Now. If you haven't seen The Heart of Darkness, it is a documentary about the making of Apocalypse Now. You got to do it. It's pretty incredible. Okay, James Henry. East Papua was a Dutch colony, and they were betrayed by the Dutch, letting the Indonesia, annexing almost half of the island of Papua New Guinea. Yeah. So like I said, August 13th, everyone. It is called The East. All right. Charlie Don't Surf. No imaginary God. All right. What's the last story? Are we going to talk about this guy? Well, yeah, Mike Lindell, right? Mind Pillow. Mein Kampf, Mind Pillow, Mike Lindell, crazy. Let's just do this thing. Mind Pillow CEO Mike Lindell says Fox News is ignoring his cyber symposium. So he's planning to buy more ads on the network to promote it. So they're ignoring your cyber symposium and you're giving them more money. Well, that seems like an incentive for them to ignore you even more. right? If I was Fox News, if I was evil, money-grubbing, fascist Fox News, and if I was ignoring you and you were giving me more money to ignore you, I would just keep ignoring you. Ignore you for, yeah, that makes sense. My Pillow CEO, Mike Lindell, is unhappy with Fox News over what he saw as its disregard for his upcoming rally. So he plans to buy more ad time on the network, Salon reports. Lindell said the news network hadn't yet covered his Cyber Symposium event scheduled to start August 10th in South Dakota. Fox News does not talk about anything with the election, he told Salon. Fox News did not immediately respond to insiders' request for comment. Lindell said he planned to respond by buying more ads on Fox News. Those ads would promote his website, frankspeech.com, and include information about the event in an attempt to get the word out, he said. Lindell has said his symposium would reveal new information about voter fraud in the 2020 election. An ally of former President Donald Trump, he has been a leading voice in spreading conspiracy theories about the election being stolen. In December 2020, Lindell said the biggest fraud is the Dominion machines, a reference to machines used to cast votes. He said Dominion's technology switched votes for Trump to votes for Joe Biden. Dominion sued Lindell for $1.3 billion, and Lindell countered with a lawsuit of $1.6 billion. Have you ever seen Judge Judy? I've seen a bit of Judge Judy in my time. And if you watch Judge Judy, you'll have someone being sued and then someone being countersued. And typically one of those people are completely wrong and they're just countersuing because that's what they feel like they should do. Like that's just counterpunching and that's what you're doing. You know, when you look about the real harm that have been done to people who work for the name of the company right there, Dominion, right? Dominion voting machines. There was real harm done to the company in terms of its stock price. There were threats against people working there, against Dominion voting machines. So yeah, there was real harm done. While Mike Lindell has just had his feels hurt. That's all. 18 comments. Wow. Stick him in a padded room. He already has his own pillows to pad it with. Oh, I like that. I like that, Sean. Mind comfy. I like that. Simply Secular Dave. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Love what else is here. Andy Angry, Dr. Mordecai. I'm glad that you're here, sir. I think I'm always simmering a little bit. Always on a little simmer of anger. All right. I think I caught up with everyone. I bet he isn't rewarding him at all. And will cost him his second if he's not further reviews. Yeah. You know, with Mike Lindell, I'm sure that even Trump thinks to himself, wow, this guy's nuts, right? The finger does feed the comedy. It does. It does feed the comedy. All right. Nicholas, how's it going, sir? All right. So is that the show for today? That seems to be like a short show, Andy. It does. What have we covered? We have covered the radio host who got COVID, the conservative radio host who got COVID after telling people not to get the vaccine, after making fun of the vaccine. Yeah, he's in the ICU. Oxygen. Part one of We're Sick of Your Shit is the Georgia restaurant owner who's just he got COVID and 3 of his staff got COVID. They're fully vaccinated. So they're not serving anyone who isn't vaccinated now. Part 2 of We're Sick of Your Shit. New York and California just mandating people to get vaccines who work for the government. Healthcare workers working for the government. And if you're not getting vaccinated, then you're going to have to get a nose swab. You're going to have to get tested weekly. And of course, Mike Lindell just being crazy and throwing, he's on the outs with Fox News, everyone. Fox News doesn't want to get sued. And that's why they're not really listening or putting or platforming Mike Lindell. Mike Flynn. That guy, what a waste of fucking carbon that guy is, right? Mike Flynn. If you don't know the story, about Mike Flynn, is that he was gifted a semi-automatic rifle, camouflage, of course. And then he goes shooting his mouth off. There's a pun there, microphone. I know it is. And I'm not going to apologize for it. What I should, I'm not going to apologize for shooting his mouth off. So, and of course, Mike Flynn says he's going to use it on someone in Washington, D.C. If I could pronounce your name, I believe it's Critio. Did you hear about the Mike's pledge of $5 million to who can convince him he's wrong about the 2020 conviction? I haven't heard about that. That's like trying to convince a young Earth creationist that evolution, that species can turn into other species. That sounds like a tough lift. All right, waste of carbon. Yes, a waste of carbon. That's what it is. All right, did I cover everything? I think I covered everything today. Look, we're doing the after show at 10 o'clock. We're doing this show Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like we usually do. And so you can catch us then. First-time watchers, first-time observers, first-time commenters, thanks for being here, everyone. This has been a lot of fun for me. I get a lot out of this. And I learned things like the fungus outbreak, drug-resistant superbug. I have to read that later on. So, hey, if you want to be on the panel for the after show at 10 o'clock, the link is in the description. And I'll see you either at 10 or I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, because that's the time that we do this crazy stuff. So thanks once again to YouTube members and patrons. There are no ads on this channel. I could do ads. Well, I have to get rid of the ads on the older videos, to tell you the truth. So I have to do that. Do I have news about the secret thing? Yes, the secret thing. I do have some news about. See, there's only a few people listening now because it's the winding down. But the secret project, yeah, it's been pushed back from September to November. I can't say anything more about the secret project, but it's getting pushed from September to November. So that's the secret project, everyone. There are people who know about the secret project too, microphone. I know that, right? And there might be other people whispering about the secret project. So maybe people know about it, maybe people don't. But it has to remain a secret. Shh. All right. Thank you, video. Here it is. I'll see you at 10, everyone. And I just want to point out, I was reading through this Guardian article the other day, is how the political right, the fascists, have completely mismanaged COVID. Because as you well know, right-wing fascists, or just fascists, we'll just cut it to fascists, have a tendency of obtaining power and popularity during these moments of collapse, right? Of these moments of disaster. And COVID has been an example of them not doing that. They have not been able to capitalize just because they've been stupid. So that's something, that's a positive spin on this horrible thing that's happened to us all, is that at least the fascists haven't capitalized on this, right? If anything, it's weakened their movements. All right. So then that's it. I just thought I'd mention that at the very end. I'll see you all later. Bye.